Okay, so I think we can get started. I hope I'm loud and clear. Uh, okay, yeah. Okay, so I think we'll continue with the project itself. So for today, we're going to start on the ETL process, so the extraction, transformation, and the loading process. And for this case, we will be using Dagster for that particular purpose. So Dagster will enable us to actually build our ETL process. So that's the extraction. So where are we getting our data from? Then the transformation. So within the pipelines themselves, we will be including the transformation steps. Then after that, the loading process. So where we going to save our data after we have done all the transformation steps? Okay. So this is a simple architectural design of the entire ETL process. So this is what I will be trying to build. So I will take you through this. Then based on this, we will be seeing essentially what we will be building during that process. Okay. So our data generally will be working. We are building a multi-model system, and so based on the system that we are building, we are looking into these two steps, these two major domains. So the first one is the customer LTV, customer lifetime value. So based on the data that we have, so based on the customer data that we have, how are we able to transform it so that we are able to come up with features? And with those features, we can use those to determine the customer LTV. So what is the lifetime value based on the customers that we have in our customer base, or the customer base database. Okay. Then the next model will be churn. So churn is the propensity for customers to actually leave. So that's the second model that we are going to be building. So customer LTV, and then the second one is the customer churn. Okay. So we will start with the raw transactional layer. So this is the raw data that we are having. So I think I did share with you where specifically we are getting our data. So this is the essentially I'm just getting data from Kaggle. So that is where I'm getting my data. So this is the data. So customer profitability and retention data set. And these are some of overview about the data. Then the tables that are being included. So here are some of the use cases. So for this one, customer LTV and also the churn. So I'm essentially building these two models. So and then I'll try to explain the approach that I'm currently taking when it comes to this. Then these are the different tables. You have the customer features table, unit economics, customer data dimension, marketing spend, orders, subscription, and all that. So this is the data that we are getting. Okay. So that's the zone number one, the raw transactional layer data. So zone number two is about the temporal slicer timeline. So when we are building these models, we need to define our approach, the approach that we are trying to take. So essentially, our data is, I think our data is between the years 20. Let me go to the orders. So our data is between the years 2021 and 2024. Okay? And when we are building these models, we need to be very keen on the approach that we are going to take. Okay. So with me, this is how I'm doing this. So for example, let's say we sign up. So a customer, this is their sign up day 0, day 1, whatever. Okay. Then we have to put a checkpoint day. So what is the checkpoint day? With this checkpoint day, we need to construct the system such that this will be the feature window that we are going to be looking. So for example, if I'm targeting customer performance for a given year, okay, so I will build a sign up day. So this is the day that we are signing up the customer, and then the checkpoint day can be, let's say, within their first 30 days. So let's observe the first 30 days of this customer, and then let's use that behavior to try and predict if what will be the LTV, the lifetime value of this customer, let's say in their first 365 days. Okay, so I'm taking my 30 days. So I'm taking my 30 days behavior of this customer. Then I'm putting that as a headline or a cap. Okay, so I'm taking that, putting that as a cap. Okay, then I'll be use this activity to actually predict the rest 365 days. So in the next 365 days, what will be will we still be having this customer based on their 30-day activity? Okay, or what will be their lifetime value based on this 30 days? So that will be the feature window, and that's the only data that we are going to use to do the pre-processing. Okay, then from the 30th day up to the 365th, up to the 365th day. So that will be the target window. So this one will be the observed strictly to calculate the final year outcome. So we are going to take whatever activity is between their day 30 to day 365 and use that window to calculate the final outcome. So what is the LTV within that duration, and also the churn. Okay, so that's what this zone will actually enable. And then this is just the temporal wall that we are going to do. So try to picture this in a marketing case, or we are having an e-commerce and we are running ads to attract customers for that matter, and also sell our products. Okay, so we have, let's say, an online store, and we also have something like let's say subscription business. Okay, so if we're having both, how are we able to use this within our business? So let's say for the marketing team, if you are buying ads, we need to understand that the ads that you're buying are actually bringing in the customers that we really need for this for our business. Okay, and we are not going to wait for 365 days for us to have that data. So we need to whatever ads we are making, whatever banners that we are constructing, are they bringing in the customers? And the customers that we're bringing in, can they be profitable to support our business? So that means what is the quality of the customers that we are trying to bring in? So we need like data for the 30 days for us to kind of build a mental picture. So a marketing team can use that data for actually that type of process to ensure that whatever marketing systems that they are using are actually doing whatever it's expected. Okay, so in let's say 60 days, in 60 days, for example, what is the behavior of these customers? Because maybe the first 30 days they were only buying because of the discounts that we are giving them. Okay, what about the 60 days? So after the 30 days, are they able to pay their first subscription? So that's one of the things. So we can have a model for 30 days, and we can have another model for the 60 days, and let's say for the 90 days, to ensure that our retention strategy is also going to support our business. Okay, so what I will be doing, I'll be using the 30 days, 60 days, and also the 90 days periods for us to actually build this system. Okay, so zone 3, this is the worker. So this is the pipelines that we are going to build. So based on the different data sets that we have, so we have the behavioral data. Let's say calculate things like order frequency, days since last purchase, and so on. So that we can get that data from there. Data number 2 is about the profile, customer status, what is their gender, what is their region, where are they coming from, and so on. Then stage 3 is about the order ETL. So what is the total gross revenue we are getting from that? What is the average transaction value? So these are some of the features that we will be concerned trying to come up within our pipeline. Stage 4, if you're running a subscription business, again, what is your subscription business, and so on. Total spend within the given subscription. Tire switch count, for example. So are your customers switching between the different tiers? Okay, maybe they are starting the premium, going back to the basic, then coming back to the premium. Okay, so those are some of the things that we are going to be tackling on that. Then we also have target zone 4 target spine generator. So once we have our ETL pipelines working, then we have to this is the one of the nice cool features that I'm actually looking into, and that is the use of Feast. So Feast is this cool feature that I've actually tried to look into, and with Feast, just give me a minute. And actually with Feast, we are actually able to, because imagine we are building a multi-model system. Essentially, we'll be having like 6 systems, for example. So we can have a system, we can have 3 for churn model and 3 for LTV model. And all those systems all those systems will have a model that is doing the prediction within a given set. So is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? Okay. So we'll have multiple models. So that is, Feast will enable us to actually organize our features for that particular purpose. But that's a topic for another day, not today. So zone 4, that's the target spine generator. So we need to find ways to generate our target target table. And so with the target table, we'll be using that one to now fill the other details based on that. Okay, so I'll show you how we will be getting that. And then the last one is about the Dagster assets. So this is where Dagster will actually come in, and Dagster will enable us to wire everything, and also ensure that we, with a click of a button or a simple process, we're able to initiate the entire ETL process from getting the data, doing the feature engineering, and all the entire pre-processing steps until when we get our data. So that's what Feast, that's what Dagster will enable us to actually achieve. Okay, so having this in mind, so this was just like a brief overview of the data, and to actually try and understand how we are building this model and so on. So let's jump right into the code and see how we can start building this system. Okay, so let me launch PyCharm. In the meantime, if there's any question, you can raise that. Then we can see of how best we can try to answer that. So I'm just launching my PyCharm. I'm using PyCharm for this. Okay, so yeah, I think this one is okay. So this is the also maybe another thing for data storage and all that, I will be using GCP, Google BigQuery, Google BigQuery for that. And so yeah, I think that I'll be using that as my storage. But anyway, when we get there, I will try to show you what we'll be doing when it comes to that. Okay, so PyCharm is launched. So let's see how we can okay, so we have our config. With the config, we can just try to set things up. So config. So we are starting with the ETL. Don't know why. Yeah, I think we are it should be up and running. Everything okay. everything is. Ah, I think this one is okay. Okay, so let me try to increase the font. Or I can just use VS Code because I think this one is kind of consuming more resources. Okay, let me use, or I can use anti-gravity for that matter. So that okay, so let's see which one can be anti-gravity. Okay, so normal. Just sign up with the just sign up. Then now you can continue. You know why there's this hold up? Just open a folder. Just open the folder. Let me Melops customer. Let's see. What is the this is it. Uh-huh. Just no. Sorry for the hold up, but having problems with having problems with PyCharm. Anyway, can just make them work anyway. So Okay, so we have the config. Then what I can do, we can just set we can under config we can set a new folder. So this will be the ETL folder. Under the ETL folder, we can have a different data. So we can have customer behavior, YAML. Can have different files, customer behavior, customer profile, .yaml. Then we can also have another marketing spend. That one is okay. Marketing spend. No, if you're getting me. Okay, so marketing spend. Then order aggregation. So order aggregation. All these are config files. And for config files, I tend to prefer, or I tend to use YAML files. Then so the subscription history. Okay, that one is okay. So let's start with the customer behavior. Close this for the time being. I'm not going to use that. So customer behavior. So for the customer behavior, raw customer features. Okay, so let's go back to our data. So this is our data. Customer, I'll use this one. So I'll use this basically as my customer behavior. So we have customer ID, order frequency, average order value. Okay, so let me just copy this. Then I can place them here. Okay, so this is the customer details. So under my config ETL customer behavior.yaml file, then we are going to set the artifacts. So I'll be setting an artifacts folder. I'll show you where. So we'll be having an artifacts folder, and inside the artifacts folder we'll be having data. So we'll be storing our data in that file. So this is the customer behavior. So this is where we are going to get our data source. So locally, this will be our data source. And then because I'm storing data in BigQuery, so this will be the table in BigQuery that I will be querying to get that data from. Then new transaction. So for the transactions, the ETL needs to access the granular transaction dates to calculate the 30, 60, and 90 day slices. So this I'll just be pointing it directly to my raw data. So you can store this data anywhere, doesn't matter. For this model, I'm just using the raw. I'll be doing this locally. So all my data will be in Packet files locally. Then temporal config. So the stopwatch for counter day 0. So here I'll be using this sign up date. So sign up date will be our day 0. When are we welcoming in these clients? Okay, so that will be our day 0. Then default look back window, that will be 6 days is my default. But again, I have the 30, 60, and 90 and 180 days, depending on how best you can or how you will be programming your case. So it it depends. It depends with how best you are looking. So for my case, I'm using this. But if you want to add the 180, then you can add the 180. That's not you're not let's say limited. You can still add that. You can still maintain that. There's no problem. Then dataset max end date to prevent training and incomplete data. So that's it. Then these are the required columns. So we have customer. We have the customer ID, order frequency. So those are the required columns. So what I'm trying to say is that these are the required columns before when we are building the model itself, so that we're not introducing columns that or features that were not previously in our data set. Okay. So how am I organizing my work? So this is the YAML file containing all the configuration details. So essentially, when I'm building my work, this is how I'm trying to organize that work. So let me show you. So I can, let's say I have can use this ETL draw and set a new file. So essentially what I'm doing, the first thing that I'm saying is my config details. So these details will be in my YAML file. These are the config details required to execute a specific component. When this is done, I create another table, or no, not another file, and this file will be my config entity. Then with the config entity, I'm able to create. Then we'll create config manager. So the config manager. Then after the config manager, I need to do this. Okay. So config entity, then with the config. So these are the config details that we are specifying. Then the config entity is like we are creating entities of this, so that the config manager can read that. Then once we're done with that, then we can create now our component. Then once we have our component, like this, then try to reduce this. Then we have our component. Then we can create our pipeline. Oval one. Then we can create our pipeline. Okay. So this is a typical workflow that I will be using in this case. So with the workflow, this is what I'm doing. I'm setting up the config details. So these are the config details to running a specific component. Then our config entity. So just do us. Okay, let me see. Just having some technical issues here. Let me see. So sorry, config entity. Okay, so config details. So this one is contains all the settings, file paths, thresholds, SQL queries, whatever. All these will be contained in your YAML file. So essentially, with a YAML file, what it enables us to do is that we're able to specify all this information without hard coding this directly into our code. So that means if you want to change our data sources and whatever, you don't need to interfere with the code itself. The execution remains the same. We only need to change this from that. Now the config entity. So the config entity. So I'll be creating that. So the config entity. So this so the config entity. So when I'm talking about the config entity, this will be we're talking about different classes and so on. So what this the config entity. So let me just entity. Okay, so this is my config entity. When I'm talking about the config entity, we are describing, as you can see, we are describing the data types that the actual ETL code expects and so on. So we are listing all of the entries within the YAML file. So we are listing all that within the config entity, and then we are defining all the data part, all the is it the data parts? We are defining all the data types and so on. did not save this. So then so that's the config entity. So then we can create the config manager, ETL. So we need to create has to be a folder. So config man. Then here we need underscore init underscore y. Then for the config entity, and I think that one we need to create manager config entity. Okay, we can just rename this. We just use entity. Then for the config manager, that one can remain as that can be no. Supposed to create a new folder. Emit entity inside the folder. Okay, then this is supposed to be config entity. Yeah, config entity. So that's okay. So this one should be inside the entity. Then yeah, config manager. Then the ETL. Yeah, that one's okay. Then for the conf, you can customer behavior config. Just create here customer behavior config. Supposed to be it's okay. So let's entity. Then I just add this here. So path lib, the data types, so root directories, source path, baseline, and everything. Recency, new features. This is a query. I think this one is okay. Then for the customer behavior config, you can just add this. Yeah. Okay, so we have constants, utils, utility logger. So we can just add this. So ETL constants. So for the constants, this one defines all our paths. So let's create a new folder constants. Under constants, then we need the init. So, yeah. So for the constants, just need to add the init. Then we can add this. Yeah, so the base directory, this is the best path where to get your config details. So customer behavior config file path. So the base directory, config, ETL, then customer behavior, YAML. Okay, so we're doing this so that it becomes easier for us to find the paths, especially when we deploy these models. So we have a constant where it defines all the paths. Okay, so we have Now this one is okay. ETL utils commons. So do we need for my utils to be outside? Yeah, so instead of yes, entity, yep. Yeah, but this if they are outside. Yep. Okay, so we have all these sorted. Then we can have another folder so that the components can have customer behavior.py. Customer behavior. Okay. So this is the component. As you can see, it's quite large or huge. So this is how we are defining the code itself. So you okay. Utils BigQuery client. I think you have not created this. Huh? And this is just a problem with the environment. I think we have not updated the environment yet. So I'll just do autosave so that we need to add the BigQuery. BigQuery. We need to add the BigQuery client. I can just look for it. Let me. This is the BigQuery client. Now we can set. Don't worry about that. Just clean this up. So think I have the project that's 2005. Need this. So I need to create an environment. Open my terminal. Let me see if it will work. Get conda environment. Using git bash. Pilot. Don't know why. We see gravity. This one can work. If this one can work magic. And the IDE. Windows. Anyway, I think I'm having. I don't think I will. Okay, I'm sorry for this. So it seems I'm still having technical issues on my end, and I don't think I can proceed. I'll just stop at this point. Try to organize all this so that anyway, see you in the next one. I'm sorry for keep you waiting, and try organize my workspace.